Hello students, welcome to the Every School Safe video series. The LA Unified Blueprint for Safety reminds us that we are committed to providing every student, preschool through adult, and all members of our district and school communities with a safe, healthy, welcoming, and respectful learning and working environment. Today we are going to spend some time talking about our role in school violence prevention. At the end of our presentation, you will learn about how you can report concerns through LA Unified's Anonymous Reporting app. Now, we are going to watch a video created by Sandy Hook Promise, a national nonprofit organization founded and led by several family members whose loved ones were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School on December 14, 2012. Sandy Hook Promise created the evidence-informed Know the Signs violence prevention programs to teach the warning signs of someone who may be in crisis, socially isolated, or at risk of hurting themselves or others, and how to get help. The video we are about to watch, titled Say Something, provides you with information about warning signs and threats and what you can do to help prevent school violence and other harmful acts in schools. The video also discusses how to identify a trusted adult, as well as learned tips on how to start a conversation with that trusted adult if you have a concern about a threat. As we watch the video, take note of things that stand out to you or something new you learned. During the video, there will be prompts to pause so you can write some notes in your Say Something activity guide that looks like this. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Sarah and I'm from Sandy Hook Promise.
Welcome. I'm Brandon Rainey from Sandy Hook Promise.
Hi everyone. My name is Jordan and I'm a sophomore at Hickory Ridge High School in Harrisburg, North Carolina. I'm also a National Youth Advisory Board member for Sandy Hook Promise's SAVE Promise Clubs. SAVE stands for Students Against Violence Everywhere.
Hi, my name is Drew. I'm a senior at Cutler Bay Senior High in Cutler Bay, Florida. Like Jordan, I'm also a National Youth Advisory Board member for Sandy Hook Promise's SAVE Promise Clubs.
We're here to talk to you about the Say Something program, which will help you to save lives by empowering you to prevent shootings, violence, suicide, and other harmful acts in your school and community. Also, before we begin, I want to give you the number for the crisis text line in case you need help from an adult and your trusted adult isn't available. Take a moment and write down this number for the crisis text line. It is 741-741. A live trained crisis counselor will respond to provide support and help. Again, the number is 741-741. Now, let's hear from Jordan about a time when saying something saved lives.
I'm going to tell you a story about a student. As a freshman, she attended a Sandy Hook Promise Say Something training session. Because of what she learned at the training, she knew she should say something if she witnessed anything that was a serious threat. A few weeks later, a boy in her class posted a picture on social media with a gun in his hand, warning students not to come to school the following day because he was going to shoot it up. The kids at school were posting all over social media, warning their friends about how they were scared to go to school the next day. The student who attended the Say Something training, she made the choice to say something to a trusted adult. She took a screenshot of the post and showed it to her teacher right away. At first, she felt a little awkward and uneasy to talk with her teacher about this scary information, but she knew it was too important not to take seriously, and that she had to say something to an adult immediately. Afterwards, her teacher assured her that she did the right thing. Because she reported the threat, the school and the police were able to get involved before anyone was harmed. To this day, that student thinks about how terrible and tragic the situation could have played out if she hadn't taken action, if she didn't say something. By saying something, she helped save lives.
Today, you will learn 3 steps that will help you keep your friends and classmates safe from hurting themselves or someone else, simply by saying something. Step 1, recognize warning signs and threats. Step number 2, when you observe a sign or threat, act immediately and take it seriously. And step 3, say something to a trusted adult or call 911 in an emergency. Using these 3 steps will empower you to help keep your school safe and to get help for people who need it. Before we jump into each step, I want to emphasize that overall, schools are safe. Your teachers, administrators, and staff are continuously working to ensure your school is safe as possible. However, schools are not immune to shootings, violence, suicide, and threats. There's still a possibility that these things can happen. That's why we're here today, to teach you 3 steps that you can use to help keep your school safe.
First, let's look at some numbers about violence, suicide, and threats that impact you. 20% of students report being bullied. 17% of students seriously consider suicide. 59% of students ages 14 to 17 have witnessed community violence in their life. That means, on average, well over half of you have witnessed violence somewhere outside of school. This could mean you saw a fight, someone getting robbed, or even a shooting. On average, there are 20 school shootings per year that kill or injure at least one person. We may not hear about all of them, but during this school year, we can expect about 20 schools in this country to have a shooting. I'm going to tell you 2 stories to illustrate these numbers. Here's the first story. The student who posted this couldn't get over a breakup with her boyfriend. He broke up with her just before Valentine's Day. She started coming to school late and cutting her classes. Then, she failed 2 of her classes in the first semester. Even though she'd been a star softball player for years, she quit the team and started talking about how meaningless life was. Then, she posted this image on Instagram, saying she wanted to end her pain altogether. This is an example of a warning sign of someone who is thinking of hurting themselves. Here's the second story. The student who posted this was getting bullied every week by a group of older students. He became severely depressed, started hating school, and began researching weapons and school shooters. He started to draw pictures of guns and death on his schoolwork. Just before Thanksgiving vacation, he posted, "Don't come to school tomorrow if you want to live." This is an example of a warning sign of someone who may be considering harming others.
As you can see from these stories, people can show warning signs before they hurt themselves or others. This means that when you see a warning sign, you have the power to help. Here are a few important numbers. According to a study by the U.S. Secret Service National Threat Assessment Center, 100% of school attackers in their study exhibited warning signs before they carried out their attack. An attack is defined as a current or former student who planned to physically hurt or kill at least one student or staff member. In each instance, they gave verbal, physical, or virtual signs that they were planning to hurt or kill people. For example, they posted on social media or tried to recruit others to help them. Recognizing these warning signs means that you can get help to stop the attack before it happens. When it comes to cyberbullying, that means bullying people online using text or social media. 59% of teens report being cyberbullied. And young people who self-harm, which means they intentionally hurt themselves, are more likely to tell a peer and seek help from a friend rather than an adult. This means that if one of your friends is thinking of hurting themselves, for instance, by cutting themselves or considering suicide, they are more likely to tell you than an adult. If you see or hear that someone may hurt themselves, you are in a position to get the person help. You are the eyes and ears of your school.
Now I'm going to talk more specifically about what you can look out for. This is step 1, recognize warning signs and threats.
So what is a warning sign? A warning sign is something a person says or does that shows they may be planning to harm themselves or others. Here are some examples of warning signs a person may be planning to harm others. I want to emphasize, though, that this is not a list of every warning sign. Being obsessed with weapons or school shootings, talking about hurting other people, talking or posting about an upcoming attack, and bringing a weapon to school.
Here are some examples of warning signs a person may be planning to harm themselves. Feeling like things will never get better, talking about wanting to die, talking about a plan to die, and cutting or burning themselves.
Here are examples of warning signs that a person may be in crisis, which is when someone is going through something that is overwhelming and they need help. Big changes in personality or appearance. For instance, a friend who is usually happy is now frequently angry and aggressive. Withdrawal from friends and activities. For instance, a friend who hangs out with you almost every day after school, but now goes directly home to be alone. Refusing to go to school or skipping school a lot. Being physically or verbally abused. For instance, a friend who tells you his father hits him every time he fails a test. These are all warning signs.
Other warning signs that someone may be in crisis include being bullied or bullying others based on real or perceived differences, including any of the following: race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, disability, and body type.
As you've just learned, there are many warning signs we can watch out for. We also have to be aware of threats. So what is a threat? A threat is when a person communicates that they intend to harm themselves or others. Someone might say a threat, write a threat, or post a threat on social media. Here are some examples of threats to others. I'm going to take them all out. They will regret they ever met me. Here are some examples of suicidal threats. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to end it all. Where are these warning signs and threats found? Anywhere and everywhere. For example, you can find them in a school, in places like classrooms, the hallways, and the cafeteria, as well as outside of the school in places like the bus, at home, at parties, and at sporting events.
Social media is a main source of warning signs and threats. It's where so many students go to make a threat or express their feelings, including anger, anxiety, or depression. And what we know is that adults aren't on the same social media platforms we are, so they aren't seeing everything we see. That's why it's so important to learn how to recognize when someone needs help. You are the eyes and ears of your school. Let's look at some examples on social media.
This student texts, "Anything has to be better than this. Living like this." This is a warning sign that someone may be at risk of hurting themselves. This student posts, "It's over for all of you." This student is making a threat and at risk of hurting others. This student writes, "I know a big secret about her." She's planning to reveal something private about a classmate. This is bullying, and it is a warning sign.
Now, in your activity guide or on a separate piece of paper, I want you to write down 3 examples of warning signs that you just learned. Pause the video now and hit play when you're finished.
Now that you know step 1, how to recognize warning signs and threats, let's learn about step number 2. Act immediately and take it seriously. Act immediately when you see or hear a warning sign or threat and get help. It's essential to act immediately because all too often, no one acts at all.
It's important to acknowledge that it can be difficult to act immediately. Here are some reasons that people may give when they don't act immediately. She's too young to hurt herself. I thought someone else would do something about it, or he just wants attention. My friend will be mad at me. My friend won't trust me anymore. My mom told me to stay out of other people's business. Acting immediately can be difficult, but just because it may be difficult doesn't mean it's an excuse for doing nothing. Not taking warning signs seriously and failing to act immediately could result in tragic consequences for you, your friends, and your classmates. You are doing something brave when you act immediately to help a friend or classmate. Helping them is more important than them being mad at you.
One of the biggest reasons that can stop you from acting immediately is that you'll be called a snitch. But there's a big difference between snitching and saying something. When you snitch on someone, you're trying to get someone in trouble for your own gain. When you say something, you're getting someone help for their own safety and protecting others from harm. Saying something is simply about getting someone help.
Remember, it's important that if you see warning signs and threats, you act immediately and take it seriously. Be an upstander, someone who helps a person in danger of hurting themselves or others, and not a bystander, someone who sees warning signs and threats and does nothing. When you're an upstander, you have the opportunity to save someone's life. Now, in your activity guide or on a separate piece of paper, write down 2 reasons someone may not act immediately. Pause the video now and hit play when you're finished.
After you recognize warning signs or threats, act immediately and take it seriously. The third and final step is to say something to a trusted adult or call 911 in an emergency. I want to highlight that you should always say something if a friend or classmate is displaying warning signs or communicating threats. Also, if you recognize that you are displaying any of these warning signs, you should say something to a trusted adult. Trusted adults are adults who listen to you and take your concerns seriously. You are the best judge of the trusted adults in your life.
Your trusted adults can be a lot of different people. They could be your teacher, a school administrator, your school counselor, or your coach. And there are lots of different types of coaches. You could have a basketball coach, a drama coach, or a chess coach. Your trusted adult could also be someone outside of school as well. Your parent or guardian, a mentor, for instance, a family friend you can talk to, a family member or a community leader, for example, a religious leader like a priest or a pastor. I want to emphasize that this is not a full list of trusted adults. These are just a few examples. There may be other people in your life that are your trusted adult that are not included here. And it's important that you know who your trusted adults are right now. That way, if you see warning signs or threats, you'll know who to go to immediately. It can be hard to have these conversations, so let's look at a strategy you can use that might help you with these conversations. First, tell your trusted adult who you are concerned about. You can use this language to start the conversation. I'm concerned about. For example, I'm concerned about my friend. The second part is to describe what warning signs or threats you are seeing and bring any texts, videos, or pictures you may have. You can use the word because to start to describe why you are concerned. For example, I'm concerned about my friend because he's being bullied. The last part is to tell your trusted adult what you would like their help with. You can use the language, and I need your help to explain what you would like them to do. For example, I'm concerned about my friend because he's being bullied and I need your help to make it stop. To summarize, you can use this language to help you talk with your trusted adult. I'm concerned about, because, and I need your help to. And remember, if your trusted adult isn't available, you can also contact the crisis text line at 741-741. A live, trained crisis counselor will respond to provide support and help. If you haven't already, take a moment and write down the number of the crisis text line. It is 741-741.
Your next activity has two parts. First, write down who your trusted adult is and 2 reasons why they're your trusted adult. Second, within the next week, tell your trusted adult 1 reason why you chose them to be your trusted adult. Pause the video now and hit play when you're finished.
Today, you learned the 3 steps to say something. Step 1, recognize warning signs and threats.
Step 2, act immediately and take these warning signs seriously.
Step 3, say something to a trusted adult or call 911 in an emergency. By bringing the 3 steps of say something into our day-to-day lives, we as students will be able to reduce violence and threats in our schools and make our schools and communities a better place to be. We have that power to make a difference in the world around us, just by saying something. So, why should you say something? You are the eyes and ears of your school.
Why should you say something? You see and hear things that others don't.
Why should you say something? You can reduce violence, suicide, and threats. If you say something, you can save a life of a friend or a classmate.
As a final activity, write down the 3 say something steps. Pause the video now and hit play when you're finished. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the Say Something program. And remember, if your trusted adult isn't available, you can also contact the crisis text line at 741-741. A live trained crisis counselor will respond to provide support and help. If you haven't already, take a moment and write down the number of the crisis text line. It is 741-741. Being a student means you are uniquely positioned to influence and support the community around you. You can stand up for your school, your peers, and your friends, and say something. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention and taking the time to understand the warning signs and what it means to say something. We realize there was a lot of important information in that video and want to make sure you have something to remember the steps and warning signs, as well as some helpful phone numbers. You should have a handout that looks like this titled Student Upstander. It reminds us that the 3 steps to being a student upstander are see something, act, and say something. Before we finish, let's talk about an important resource available to you.
Hello students! As a lieutenant for the Los Angeles School Police Department, the safety of all of our students and school community stakeholders is our #1 priority. I'm excited to share information with you about our Los Angeles Schools Anonymous Reporting mobile app, also known as LASAR. This app allows students, families, and those in the Los Angeles school community to anonymously report public safety incidents such as threats of a school attack, psychological distress, thoughts of suicide, weapons or dangerous objects on campuses, vandalism, and instances of drug consumption or drug trafficking. The LASAR app allows students and families to report an incident, choose whether they want to identify themselves or remain anonymous, and then identify the location where an incident has occurred. The report is then followed up by the Los Angeles School Police Department in partnership with administrators, mental health professionals, or another necessary group. Let's take a moment to watch this public service announcement about how to report an incident on the LASAR app.
Anonymously report non-emergency incidents to school authorities from your smartphone. Introducing LASAR, the new Los Angeles Schools Anonymous Reporting app from Los Angeles Unified. With the new LASAR app, you'll be able to report suspicious activity, mental health incidents, drugs, vandalism, and safety issues from your smartphone. Reporting an incident is easy. To report a concern, select the type of incident. Then, select your location. Enter details about the incident, including the option to include a date and time. Depending on the type of incident, you also have the option to include a photo or video. Finally, submit your report. All reports are reviewed by Los Angeles Unified authorities, and you may remain anonymous at any time. The new LASAR app is available now on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. As a friendly reminder, please continue to report all emergencies to 911.
Thank you for watching. To download the free LASAR app, visit either the Apple or Android stores and search for LAUSD LASAR. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Thank you for joining us for this important school violence prevention training. Remember, if you see something, act and say something. Let's work together to keep our schools and communities safe.